then middle school, and then from middle school we moved, but because my parents got a divorce.
Your parents, divorced. Okay, like how were you mentally? Like where was you emotionally at that moment?
Oh, it was tough. It was really tough. I don't remember a lot about that, but I do remember struggling with my emotions.
Through this show, we strive to create a world where young individuals feel empowered to express themselves, where educators and students become partners in shaping the future, and where parents and young adults build bridges of understanding that span the generations. We aim to create a society where everyone's voice is heard, valued, and respected. Welcome to Coach's Corner.
What's up? Welcome to Coach's Corner, and this is your host, Coach Cordell. Today, I got a very special guest, our first principal. This is our first principal on Coach's Corner. How are you doing today?
I'm great.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. I want you to kind of give background to our viewers, your name, you're from, and just let's start like that.
All right. So my name is Marjollet. I'm originally from Visalia, so I'm a Valley girl here.
Okay.
Just been working in education. This is my 26th year in education.
Wow.
So yeah.
26 years.
Yeah, second year as principal, 10 years admin, and then the rest teaching.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's how I like to start at.
Okay.
Your name, so they get to know who you are,
Yes.
right? So now I want to start from the beginning.
From the beginning. Yes.
Childhood
Okay.
to adulthood to, any obstacles you had, anything that you struggled with growing up. We want to hear about it.
Okay, so grew up in Visalia, like I said, middle class. My mom was a nurse. My dad was a police officer growing up. So I was a latchkey kid. So my sister and I both latchkey kids. Had my maternal grandmother. She raised me a bit too, because when you have two parents that work 12-hour shifts a day, it's tough. So you have to have somebody else in there, and it was my grandma Bev, still alive,
Nice.
94 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, strong woman.
Grandma Bev in the house.
Yay! So grew up and had just the normal, elementary school, then middle school, and then from middle school we moved, but because my parents got a divorce, and so I went to high school not knowing one person.
Wow.
That was tough.
Wow.
That was really tough. So,
yeah. So before we get to high school,
Okay.
right? And I always love to ask about the middle school era, right? Because that's like the weird state in our life, right? How was it for you?
Oh, I was the nerd. I was in the band. I'm not saying the band kids are nerds, because they're not. Because loved being in the band. I was not a popular kid. I had Bucky Beaver teeth, like I say. It was a struggle, because about that time my parents got a divorce.
Okay.
So I struggled a bit. Education was always a priority in my house, though. So that was like nothing, like no, you keep your grades up. But that was a year, my 7th grade year, struggled a bit.
Gotcha. So during your parents, divorce, how were you mentally, like as a 7th grade? Was it around that time?
Yes.
Okay. Like how were you mentally? Like, where was you emotionally at that moment?
Oh, it was tough. It was really tough. I don't remember a lot about that, but I do remember struggling with my emotions. So I can really relate to those kids that are going through, those tough times. And, it's hard to name the emotions. That's the issue, because, your whole world is turned upside down, and you don't know. I mean, I lived with my mom right next to my grandparents, my grandma Bev and grandpa Jim at the time, and it was tough. It was tough.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So did they break up the times with your dad and with your mom's situation?
Say that again?
So when they got the divorce,
yeah.
And how long was you with your dad at times, and then your mom?
Mostly with my mom.
Mostly
I'd
with your mom.
see my dad on occasion.
Oh,
Yeah, like
okay.
on the weekends and stuff, but mostly my mom.
Got you. And then
Yeah.
you had to go to a new high school because you left Visalia, or you just...
No, just because where we moved was right next to the high school.
Uh-huh.
And so my mom drove me to the middle school so I could just finish out middle school.
Got you.
And then I would just literally, I could walk to the school,
Wow.
the high school. So
Wow.
right by it.
So you went through the middle school era where, things got a little bit rocky for you.
Yes.
And now you're going into high school brand new, don't know anybody.
Not a soul.
So how did you
No.
get through that?
I'm a shy person, but I just really kind of put myself out there and started talking to people and started making friends, and still people I talk to from high school. So
Wow.
it's good. So I had a good group of friends in high school.
Got you.
Yeah.
And most times, you join friends, like did you go to band in high school?
I did.
So that's where most of your friends came from?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had to talk to another young adult about that, and he was like, most of the time when you do an activity, everybody in that activity love that. So
Yeah.
that's how you meet more friends.
Yeah.
So okay.
But I had friends outside of band too.
Got
So,
you.
but yeah, no, I liked band a lot.
How many siblings do you have?
Just one.
Just one, another sister?
Yes.
Okay, how old?
She's 5 years older than I
5
am.
years old. So did you ever had to follow in her footsteps, or had your own footsteps? Like,
Well,
what did
it's funny thing is that being 5 years older, she was already in high school, and so she went to a separate high school. So we went to two separate high schools.
Oh.
So the funny thing in my family was my mom and I went to one high school, and my dad and my sister went to a different high school. So it was kind of like the rivalry in the family of one went to Redwood, went to Mount Whitney.
Yeah.
So and my sister graduated early.
Okay.
And then her senior year, she did a Rotary scholarship, and she lived in Japan for her senior year.
Wow, that's super cool.
Yeah.
So where did, you said education was real big in your household. Like, where
Yes.
did that come from?
Both my parents.
Both of your parents, they always, no matter what, education is education.
Yeah. I would say a lot of my mom, though.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, big role model.
Nice, nice. So
Yeah.
high school years, you finally getting through it.
Yes.
Senior year,
Yes.
decisions.
Yes.
How did that go for you?
Well, high school was important, but I didn't have like the GPA to get into UCLA or USC. So I just went to Fresno State.
Sure.
And I am not letting my kids do this, but I moved out at 17 and moved up to Fresno at 17.
Wow.
I don't know why my parents let me do that. I mean, I got right in, I went to summer school, but yeah, no, my kids are not doing that. They have to be 18.
What was hard for you at 17? Like, what made you want to leave that early?
Just because I just wanted to get going. I was ready. Let's go. Came up here, found a job, and then started taking classes in summer school. I was just ready.
So the drive, where did the drive come from?
The drive to succeed,
Yes.
my mom.
Your mom?
And
That's
my
you?
dad, but I would say my mom.
Wow.
My
Wow.
dad's always been a go-getter too, and after he left the police force, he started his own construction company.
Yeah.
So, I have, two very strong-willed parents.
And that's really dope for them to keep pressuring you. Like, it's low-key pressure, you
Yeah.
know? You have to get to this. So when you went to Fresno State, did you
Yes.
know what major you wanted to go into?
Yes, I started with, so funny, I started with interior design because that's where I had worked when I was in high school.
Uh-huh.
And I started doing that until I took an art history class. And it was like a click for me. And I went, oh, no, this is what I really want to do.
Wow.
And so I switched my major to art, and which I am not an artist. I still had to take all the art classes. I passed them, but it was art history. That
Okay.
was really my thing. And my professor there, Dr. Gina Stromwasser, very, very important mentor in my life. And so I finished with an art history degree and thought, okay, I'm going to go on to graduate school. Applied to graduate school, and they only took 10 people into their program, and I was number 11 on the list.
Wow.
And all 10 people accepted.
Wow.
I was like, okay, so plan B, what do I do? And so Dr. Stromwasser had suggested, well, why don't you substitute teach just, while you're doing this? And I thought, okay, and did it. And I thought, okay, well, this isn't too bad. You know, maybe I can go down the education route and be a teacher. My mom, being a nurse, she got into nurse education. And so she would teach the CNAs, LVNs as they came through her hospital, Cuidata in Visalia. And so there was always that teaching side to my mom. So, you know, I think that was kind of in my genes. Yeah. Kind of going back, when I was in an elementary school, we had to write an essay on the 3 things that we wanted to be when we grew up. So these are the 3 things, and this is really going to date me. I wanted to be a teacher, a judge, or a solid gold dancer.
Solid gold dancer.
So, I know. I will
Number 3 out there, boy.
You know, kind of going all different ways, right?
But it's dope, though.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and I became a teacher.
Right, and the teacher was number 1. That's crazy.
Yeah.
To even think about it when you just look at it like, dang, I did want to be this.
I did. Yeah. And I had just forgotten about it. And so got into substitute teaching and then went through the credential program and got my first job. And it was during a time where there was a shortage of teachers, and they hired me right. Central hired me right for, you know, getting my credential, and that's it.
I just want to kind of put a shine on that you went to college for something, right? Mm-hmm. And then it switched twice. So it's just like letting people know, like, it's okay to, like, you don't have to go in there and just stay there, right? Because a lot of people go to school for 4 years and be like, you know what, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So it was dope that you got to change, like,
I did.
Twice.
Yeah.
You got into substitute teaching.
Yes.
And then you fell in love.
I did.
What made you fall in love with the students and teaching?
The kids were it. And I actually started teaching junior high.
Wow.
Which that's a hard age.
Yes, junior high is different.
But I will say I got into it before social media, before all of that.
Yeah.
And that was a blessing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started teaching. So what made you go to the next step?
The leaders that I had, the principals that I worked under, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into administration. So I booked a date to take the test. And during that time, it's harder to do that without going through a master's program, getting your admin credential. Okay. At that time, you could actually take a 6-hour exam, and I did.
Wow.
So took that. And I went back and did get my master's in education.
Okay.
Because you do have to have a master's to be in administration. But I didn't have to have the admin credential part of it for classes because I tested out for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So now you became a principal.
Yes. Well, first vice principal.
First vice principal.
Yes.
For how many years?
8 years.
8 years. So you put the work in.
I did.
To become a principal.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So just to transition with being a principal now, I think how long you been a principal?
This is my second year.
Second year. So you was an assistant principal during COVID.
Yes.
Let's talk about COVID.
Okay.
Let's talk about the pandemic. What changed for you? What changed for the kids? What, anything that grew from that? Like anything that was like, you know what? I have to switch it up. So let's talk about the pandemic.
Well, I kind of had a 2 thing because I had my own kids at home too.
Yes.
So my own kids, and my oldest was in 5th grade and my youngest in 3rd grade.
Gotcha.
And they were at my school, so that was good. Huh. It was once we shut down, and I remember it was right before spring break in 2020. And my district admin, it was, wow, what are we going to do? How are we going to get these kids educated? Because we can't stop.
Yeah.
And so we were, on the back end, we were making copies of stuff. So some of it was hard copies. Then we transitioned into every kid got a computer, a Chromebook to take home. And so the teachers could teach that way. Everybody started using Google Classroom. And, we're all watching the news going, what's going to happen? Right. So we're all getting really nervous about, gosh, how long is this going to stay? What are we going to do? How are you going to plan for next year? And it was, on the back end of it, it was a lot because I had to take care of myself, my kids, and then all the kids in my school too. And, make sure that everybody had what they needed to still learn.
Yeah.
And going through that and then coming back to where kids were on a hybrid schedule, some are in person, like my kids were in person, like Tuesdays and Thursdays. Some kids were Wednesdays and Fridays, and, making sure their desks are 6 feet apart and and when they lined up and how they went in the cafeteria, and you had to, make sure they were spread out. It was, yeah.
Wow.
So it was crazy.
You have
and the
mask?
mask.
Oh my God. How was that?
Terrible. Terrible.
Did they want to wear it? Or, because it seemed like a lot of kids are just, like, it's almost like covering, certain things. So some of them got used to it. And
they did, yeah. But you don't realize how much you really rely on facial expressions from people for those social cues, for the connections that you make with them.
Yeah.
Because having the masks, the mask on, and just watching the eye, that was tough. Because you don't know if somebody's smiling behind the mask.
Right, you're right.
You don't, and so you have to, really go with your eyes on that to give your expression and your emotion.
Right.
And to where, kids, my huggers before, I know they wanted to hug me, but they were really scared to because, they didn't know about, how this was, there was so much uncertainty.
Right,
so,
right. So for you, what did the change in yourself and like during the pandemic, anything that you learned from or you changed or it's anything that helped you out, just thinking about?
Patience, a lot of patience, a lot of, I had some teachers who were not as patient with their kids, and it's just give grace. You don't know what their home life is like. Unfortunately, there were glimpses that we got into their home life, and it was like, oh, wow. It's tough.
Yeah.
Tough. And you still wanted to be there for them. And it was really to give grace to these kids. They're doing the best that they can.
Right.
And a lot of them are dependent on their parents to do that. And if you didn't have that parent support and making sure that the kids got on for their lessons and stuff, it was tough. It's tough. It was tough.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there was a change for it. So when you guys got to come back.
Yes.
How was that for you?
It was great. It was great. I think once we kind of went over that hump and we were able to really not have to do the 6 feet distancing and, the mask mandate went away, the kids were so happy to come back. Oh, I think that they had a better understanding and a better respect for school.
Yeah.
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 But social, emotionally, we're still dealing with it. We are still dealing with the effects of it with our littles.
Yeah.
Our littles. Because a lot of them had normally gone to preschool and had that socialization. And when they didn't, they did not know how to deal with their emotions. They did not know how to deal with other kids and, the things that they would do out on the playground or even in class. And so we had a lot of kids with some very high needs, social emotional needs.
Wow.
Yeah. And that took a lot out of all of us.
Yeah.
Thank goodness we had a part-time intervention counselor, and now right after COVID, they made them full-time. And then we also have a thinkery, and a thinkery is a room for students to when they are escalated to, there's sensory items, there's a calm down corner, there's bean bags, there's a place to talk, and there's a thinkery teacher who could help them de-escalate and, regulate them, get back to regulated emotions, and then go back to class.
That's super. I don't think I heard any school that has that.
All of our central schools.
Central Unified.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I
Yeah.
think other people need to listen up. Like, that's super cool to have.
Yeah.
And thinking of just, like you said, the babies, what made you want to be a principal for elementary kids?
Easier to handle. Being honest.
Right.
You know, I worked in junior high, so I mean, could I do it? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
High school is a whole different beast, and I think that being a high school principal, especially when you have 2,000 kids, right. that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Elementary, they just love you. Yeah. They really do, and I just love seeing kids coming, you know, first grade, second grade, having a difficult time, and you see them just really grow and mature. And by the time they get to sixth grade, you know, they're just this great kid who is, you know, just miles away from what they were.
Wow.
Yeah. You can really see it in elementary. See that growth.
Elementary it's a fun, especially when I came to your school, they were amazing, right? And then just the little ones is so cute.
Yeah.
That's so another question I have for you is, as a principal, you know, as your staff, your teachers, how do you handle them as if they come to you as like problems or you know, issues as I can't take it anymore? How do you handle your staff?
Well, my door is always open, and that's I'm always there to talk. I'm always there. Sometimes they just need a vent, and they don't want to anything more from me, just to sit there and listen. Sometimes it's I have an issue. Can you help me think of a way around this? Not a problem. Let's start thinking of things. I'm a very open person, and I'm a very real person with my staff. They know me. There's what you see is what you get. I'm a very giving person, and I learned that from my mom and my grandmother. I love to spoil them. I love to do things for them because it makes me happy. Right. It makes me happy. But I'm not going to say it's all, you know, unicorns and rainbows all the time. Right. It's not. I mean, do I have teachers upset at me at times? Absolutely. But I also try and if I have to make changes, I always go and talk it out with them and say, hey, I may have to do this. Help me think this through. Is this going to work for you? Is this, you know, I don't want to be a dictator or be like, this is the way it is.
Right.
That's just not my personality.
Love it.
So, you know, I'm just very open.
That's cool.
My door is always open.
Love that.
They can text me, call me, and they do, you know, in the evenings, and I'll always answer them.
Wow. See, I like it. So now let's go to the parents.
Okay.
Right? You got to deal with the parents.
Yes.
How do you deal with them?
Well, I have learned my lessons, you know, just from being VP and even, you know, just as a principal. You want to answer those parents, those angry parents or parents that are upset or whatever. You want to get to them right away. I don't want them to wait 24 hours to talk to me. You know, if they are contacting me, it is for a reason, and they need me to listen because something's going wrong with their baby. Gotcha. And so if whatever I can do to make it right, and I will. Sometimes it's just, okay, I'm happy to help, but talk to the teacher first, because a lot of times it can be solved at that level, because I don't know what happened in the classroom. I don't know the grading, you know, how he graded or she graded on this. So it could be as simple as that. It could be having a meeting with the three of us. But if there's an email on the weekend, I will answer it, because I don't want them waiting until Monday, because a lot of times it'll just continue to escalate in their minds and in their hearts. And I don't want that. I hear you. Let me get to it first thing Monday, and as soon as I can do that investigation, I will contact you.
Wow.
So.
Look at you. Okay. Yeah. I like that. Your communication just is there.
But I had to learn the hard way. That is something that I had to learn. I wasn't always like that. But it's helped me in the long run, and it helps the parents too. It's not just helping me; it helps them too.
So you have to go through that.
Oh yeah, those ups and downs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you have to, I got the question. The other question I have for you is, when it comes to how do you handle your stress from work? Do you take it home with you, or how do you work with that?
Sometimes I take it home. I try not to. I try not to. I have other principals that I can just call and vent to, friends in education that I can call and just say, this was a rough day, or I'm having really difficult time with this. Can you help me with this? So my former principal, Michelle Bergman, who taught me everything I know for administration, she's wonderful. It was always just make a list. If you are stressed, or if you don't know where to start on, all the things that are kind of like you have so much to do, just start making a list. Prioritize. Which one do you have to get done? Which one can you push down? And that kind of helps bring my stress down too. But it's just having good, solid people and good friends around you. Just to have them listen, just like I would do for them.
Love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I would love to say exercise. No.
No. Wow. So I always like to ask my guests this question.
Okay.
A couple questions before we get out of here. What would you tell, if you had the chance to go back to talk to your younger self, what would you say to that?
I would say don't care so much about what other people think of you, because they're really not thinking of you. That's all in your mind. Yeah. Don't care what other people think. Just do your thing. Just be yourself and set those goals and keep setting them for the rest of your life too. Yeah. Don't ever stop.
Wow.
Don't ever stop learning. But yeah, it's really don't think about what other people think about you, because that's on them. You know yourself.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Next question.
Okay.
What's your definition of fear?
Fear. Ooh, that's a tough one. Fear is the unknown. And not knowing what's ahead of you, not knowing is really difficult to take that step towards something. But it can be a challenge. It's all based on emotion. But, it's something that we all feel and we all have to go through, but you'll never get anywhere if you don't face it. And just try. Wow. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to fail? Okay, well, we all fail.
Yes.
So just pick yourself up, just keep going. Yeah.
I like that. Now, if you had the opportunity to speak to a group of new teachers coming in.
Yes.
What kind of information would you give them? And what kind of motivation, inspiration, like what would you give these group of teachers that's coming in?
Well, they already have the motivation, because they're ready to go. They're ready to be in that classroom. It would be gentle on yourself. Don't take so much work home, because I remember as a new teacher how much work home I took, and I had veteran teachers like, you spent all weekend grading? Yeah. No. You need to give yourself time to rest. You need to give yourself time to decompress, because come Monday morning, you're not going to be any good to these kids. So you need to take time for yourself. Listen and really watch for those kids that need that extra special attention, because you need to know your kids, and you don't know what their home life is unless you visit their house. And those kids will tell you. They'll tell you with behavior. They'll tell you with words. They'll tell you with non-participation. So those are the kids, too, that you really need to look out for, because you can be a major influence in their lives. So don't forget those kids that are quiet.
Wow. Okay, you heard it. So this question might get you, right?
Okay.
Last question.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
What's your why?
My why. My why is for the kids. My why is for my families. It's for my teachers. but it's for the kids. I want to be there for the kids. I want them to remember me like I remember my elementary school principal, Mr. Moore, and how much I want them to succeed, and I see great things out of all of them. And so that's my why. They can change the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen, you guys, you heard it first. Special guest, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For coming on my show, giving your grace, giving your bright light, and I'm proud, super proud of how you're handling at your school right now.
Thank you.
I'm telling you guys, this school was great. My boy Renee in the back, he was there. He know great students. So keep doing what you do.
And we can't wait to have you back.
I will be back.
Yes.
Coach Cordell will be back.
Yes.
So, hey, that's a wrap for Coach's Corner. And this is your host, Coach Cordell. We out. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome to Coach's Corner, a platform dedicated to giving students and young adults